Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. We have some breaking news as Pete Thamel of ESPN is reporting that DJU is expected to commit and transfer to Oregon State. The announcement expected in a few days, and I think I get a lot of the DJU hate. He hasn't been great, and in big games, he's been pretty ugly at times. But I think this could really shake up the Pac-12. Oregon State was one of the best teams in the country. They weren't sexy, but this is a team that went 10-3, beat Oregon to end the season, blew out Florida in the bowl game, and are returning all five of their offensive linemen, returning probably one of the best true freshman running back in the country last year. If DJU can find some sort of rhythm at Oregon State, this team could be really, really dangerous. Before we get more into it, though, I just want to say thank you guys for the support you guys have shown again. The transfer portal has been crazy, and we've just enjoyed chopping it up with you guys in the comments section, and the support you guys have shown truly does mean a lot. So if you guys do want to support the channel, consider subscribing to the channel. That is the best way you can support us. We really do appreciate it. Let's get into DJU. I want to start with Oregon State's situation at first. Again, we talk about they went 10-3. We're one of the best teams against the spread, and a team that not many people talked about because they weren't flashy. They ran the football really well, and they played damn good defense. And so not necessarily a recipe for people like ESPN to be talking about them. That being said, you can't ignore the success that they had, and they capped off an incredible season with a dominant performance against an SEC team in the Florida Gators. What's even more impressive is that they went 10-3 with below average quarterback play at best. I mean, you look at the two guys, Ben Gulbranson, Chance Nolan, both guys that were decent, but not great. I mean, Gulbranson's completing 62% of his balls for nine touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. And Chance Nolan, 7 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, only completing 59% of his balls. Like the quarterback play was not very good for Oregon State, yet they were a 10-3 team. And they return a lot of guys who are impact players on that offense. I'm kind of optimistic about how this Oregon State team is going into 2023. And if they can hit on a quarterback, that'd be massive. Now, talking a little bit about DJU, again, I think the most important thing to remind yourselves is he's only going into his 4th year of college football. Very similar situation to Bo Nix at Oregon last year, where it was ugly at times. That being said, you look at what DJU did last year, I don't think it was as bad as many people believe. Completing 62% of his balls for 22 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, also tacked on 500-plus rushing yards as well. Oregon State likes to run the football. If they get a quarterback who can also run the football, kind of like a battering ram, I think that could really help their offense. I'm not completely out on DJU as a player, though. Obviously, a top quarterback coming into his class, 5-star dude, kind of was the heir of Trevor Lawrence, and he plays that first game against Georgia, his first year starting as a redshirt freshman, and Georgia just got up on him. Clemson could not block up front. They did not have wide receivers who could make plays, and they couldn't run the football pretty much all of 2021. And it's a really tough spot for a quarterback to play in. And quite frankly, how much that offensive line struggled, I think DJU kind of got the yips a little bit. Lost his confidence. The bright lights were on him, and I just think he lost his confidence and kind of wilted away a little bit. Last year, I do think it was better. I mean, this Clemson team was pretty solid. They were able to run the football a little bit. Wide receiver play still wasn't great, but it was better. And I think DJU looked better with better wide receiver play, with better offensive line play as they returned most of those guys into 2022. I just think in those big games, sometimes DJU did not play his best ball. And when he was not playing his best football, it did get ugly. You saw a lot of overthrows. You saw a lot of balls into the dirt. You saw some bad turnovers. That being said, on aggregate, I don't think he was that bad. I mean, throwing for 2,500 yards and 22 touchdowns for a regular quarterback is not bad. And quite frankly, that's much better than the numbers or how any Oregon State quarterback looked last year for them. And that's no disrespect to Gulbranson or Nolan, but DJU's potential in that offense is much, much higher. And you bring him in, getting him kind of away from the national media, all the way up in Oregon State. I kind of like this spot a lot. You're going to have a good offensive line, and you're going to have a good run game. That is a quarterback's best friend. And this is a guy that, I mean, you can't deny the arm talent that he has. He is a very good quarterback who has, well, I shouldn't say very good quarterback, but he's very talented. He has a lot of chops to be a very good quarterback. If he can develop at Oregon State, it seems to me like kind of a low-risk, high-reward swing. Like you bring him in and just put him in the quarterback competition. And if you can hit on a guy like DJU, you're looking at Oregon State being a Pac-12 contender. They already were a Pac-12 contender going into 2023. This could really put them over the edge if DJU can figure his game out. Get him in the winter, get him into that playbook, have a good run game, and make things easier on him. I think he was doing a little too much hero ball, especially in 2021 at Clemson. They were asking a little too much of him. The wide receiver play wasn't that great. The offensive line play was atrocious. Now you're going to have a good run game. You're going to have a good offensive line. And you're going to have a QB-friendly system where you want to run the football. You're going to see loaded boxes. The throwing windows down the field will be a little bit more there when you're on a team that can run the football. I really like this. As an Oregon State fan, I'm rooting for DJU. I don't think he quite got a fair shake at Clemson. New offensive coordinator. The offense never seems smooth. And yeah, I get it. DJU wasn't the best football player ever, but I do not like how they ran that offense. Tony Elliott getting the Virginia job after 2021 made no sense. And you get him in a spot where there's less media attention. He kind of goes under the radar a little bit, a little less pressure. I think this could be a really good situation for, it seems to me like a perfect situation for DJU. And it also seems like a really, really good spot for Oregon State, where you're bringing in a guy who is tremendously talented at a position group that you had decent players, but nobody near talented like DJU. And if you can hit on him and he can kind of unlock his full potential, the Oregon State Beavers are going to be a team you don't want to play in 2023. They were already a team you don't want to play in 2023. Now, this is an interesting one to watch. I'm very, very excited. I'll leave it at that again. Late Friday night. I hope you guys are staying warm if you're up in the Northeast, and we appreciate all the support you guys have shown. Again, if you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys a lot, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.